Welcome to the Iron Gates. I've been so excited to come here for a long time. It's one of the most dramatic river gorges in Europe, and historically it's super important because it's a stretch of the Danube that was incredibly hard to navigate. Of course, you can see these dramatic cliffs that dive straight down into the water, and historically, because of changing water levels, there was like rapids and whirlpools. It was just really difficult to navigate, but it's a historically important place with a couple massively interesting things. One of those is a fortress, of course. Somewhere like this that's hard to navigate and important for commerce is going to have a massive fortress. It's gorgeous. And so we're going to Golubac Fortress right here on the Serbia side. We're also going to Lepenski Vir, which is one of the oldest archaeological sites in Europe. Not oldest in terms of its discovery, or oldest in terms of some of the earliest signs of civilization that exist in Europe. Should be super fun.
This area is incredibly gorgeous, especially at this time of year with all the fall colors popping, but a lot of these little towns are really cute to drive through. When you approach Golubac Fortress, there's like these overhanging rocks and then the fortress appears. It's really incredibly striking. This little motorway kind of hugs the river, and so you get all these really pretty views. It's really just an incredibly beautiful place. The Iron Gates stretch about 100 kilometers, cutting through the Carpathian Mountains and the Balkan Mountains. And so all the places we'll go to in this video are on the Serbia side of the river, but the other side of the river is Romania.
Right here on the banks of the Danube, between Romania and Serbia at the Iron Gates, lies a site that connects us to the earliest European civilizations. I'm talking about Lepenski Vir, where there might have been people living as early as 7000 BC, which is absolutely mind-blowing to think as early as 9,000 years ago, there could have been people living exactly on this spot, like living in community, sculpting art, and worshiping together. Unfortunately, when the big dam that I mentioned was completed, it rose the level of the river and actually put a lot of the archaeological site underneath the water. But right ahead of me, there's a museum that's supposed to be like a really good homage that tells the story really well. So let's go check it out.
The museum is really well put together. When you enter, of course, there's this little video that you can sit and watch if you'd like. It tells the story of the excavation of the site. And here's where it's located along the river. So this is the Danube, and you can see, like I was saying before, we're on the Serbia side. And this whole area on the map of the Danube is the Iron Gates. Right here you can see this is where we are at Lepenski Vir. Most of the artifacts here actually predate agriculture in the region. So it's kind of showing like the transition from hunter-gatherer to settled village life. And it's really cool to see the kind of tools and art that people were making. This area on the Mediterranean is famous for the evil eye, especially down in Greece. That's what this reminds me of. The coolest part is that in a little bit, you're going to see the way that the domiciles were put together. And a lot of the domiciles would have some of these art inside. And they also had space for like a little fire pit inside of the domicile. It's super interesting to see. So there's like this 3D representation. Obviously in a video, the 3D doesn't come through, but it's really cool. And this is like a VR experience. It was much more fun than I thought it would be to sit and actually be able to like walk around the village kind of. Just outside, they have like reconstruction of some of the domiciles. So it's really cool to see the way that they would have looked. But the centerpiece to the whole museum is this recreation of the entire excavation site. Like I was saying before, the excavation site is now underwater because when the Đerdap hydroelectric dam was completed in 1972, it rose the level of the river and it put this entire site underwater. But this recreation is super cool. And it's nice that you go through and you see like the virtual reality experience and you see the recreation of the huts. So when you come here, you can really picture the way this little village looked. Each house with its little fire pit, some of them put with like the entrances facing each other in community. A lot of the houses have these little stone pieces of art. Maybe they were representations of like pagan gods. And one of my favorite pieces of this is you're looking out over this and kind of imagining what it was like, and then you look out through these really beautiful windows at this huge bluff just across the river and realize, like maybe 8,500 years ago, the people who settled in this village were literally looking at the exact same view. I don't know what it is about that, but it really made me feel connected. And even without that connection, it's such a beautiful view, but just realizing that deep connection to our ancestors is really, really neat. Coming towards Golubac's castle from the south, moving upriver, is really beautiful, but it's not nearly as striking as it is coming from the north and heading downriver. I've seen a lot of beautiful castles, but this one is truly striking.
And now for the thing I'm really excited about today. This fortress might as well be the key to the Danube. Back in medieval times, even if you were a sailor who could brave the Danube and make it this far up through the Iron Gates, if your people weren't in control of Golubac, you might be in trouble. I honestly have no idea what we're gonna learn inside, but it just looks so amazing. I've seen a lot of really incredible fortresses. When I think about it, my favorite ones actually aren't that far away over in Romania, but I don't think any of them look this striking from outside. It looks truly fantastic, so let's go check it out.
It's really neat the way stuff is laid out at Golubac Fortress, so it really describes the way each of the towers kind of had their own purpose. So where you enter across the bridge that goes across like the moat-like piece of the river, you enter by the gate tower, which of course makes total sense. It's like this is the main entrance, and so that tower is just meant to guard that entrance. So as we enter by the gate tower on the left here, it's neat how they have like different armaments from different periods. So you can see like a reconstructed catapult here on the left, and there's a trebuchet on the right. Just interesting and cool to see. But off to the left here, you can see this tower that's kind of out in the middle of the river, and it was called Cannon Tower. And it's super cool the way that stuff is maintained. So you'll see in a little bit when we go there, there's still like a bunch of cannons that are set up there. And you can kind of get the feel for the way that they had this sweeping view, but they were well protected, and they just sit there and control the entire river. What seemed unique to me about Cannon Tower is you really get almost a 360-degree view all the way around facing out to the Danube, and these cannons are huge. Of course, the towers were built over different periods of the castle. So the tallest tower is called Hat Tower, and it seems like it's the oldest of all of the towers. And the tower next to it, right on the Danube, they called the Watchtower. Of course, the one furthest up the hill was meant to protect from hillside attacks. Some of the towers used to have frescoes painted inside of them. One of them has a chapel, and some of them have Christian inscriptions. It's really cool the way that everything is described, so you kind of get a feel for how the castle grew over the centuries. It was originally built in the 14th century, so we're talking like 1300s. So originally it would have been Serbian, but at different parts in history it was controlled by the Austro-Hungarians and the Ottomans. It's truly an incredibly beautiful place. So this is some of the museum stuff. It makes sense. The fortress has existed over the last 800 years. And so there's all kinds of different things from different periods, from like the armor that knights wore. You can see here like wooden and hide shields and chainmail, like ceramic bombs that would have been launched from the trebuchet. Just different armaments from different periods. Stuff from black powder rifles. Ceramic and metal cannonballs. It's really neat. This main area of the museum was like the entertaining space. So it's like whoever were the dignitaries or whatever empire owned the castle at that point in time, this is the place the wealthy people would have been staying. If you do come here, make sure you're ready for some stairs. The stairs are super uneven. They're narrow, they're tall stairs. It's a little bit difficult to get around. It's not bad, but it is something to know and be ready for. There are a few towers that you can climb up, and they have like historical stories and things like that. It's neat, but the best views are from the Cannon Tower and from like the museum area. It is really unique that most places I really think are much prettier when you're outside facing in. Well, this castle is so striking that even from the inside, you're still kind of facing in towards everything, and it's really, really incredible to just be surrounded by it. It actually does feel like you're experiencing history. I really appreciated the way everything here is kind of minimalist. It's just built for you to experience the past and the castle itself. Really, really well done. Full recommendation. It is an awesome day. Everywhere you go inside the fortress, it's just beautiful, beautiful views of this historical fortress. And this is the cool part. Like, yeah, the museum stuff is neat, but the fortress itself is so incredible.
That was super neat. The exhibits are fine, they're nice, but the real artifact is the fortress itself, which is fantastic. It's just restored so well, and everything is simple. It's not like overdone, nothing is kitschy. It's just real and super, super awesome. I've been super excited to come here to the Iron Gates for a long time, like maybe actually since I heard about it, which was after I moved to Serbia. I'm super glad I got a chance to do it today. And if you like this video, you might like the one on screen, so check it out.